Section 2. You will hear a guide talking to a group of visitors in a garden. First, you'll have some time to look at questions 11 to 14. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 14.
Hello, welcome to Pine Garden. My name is Manuel, and I'd like to tell you a few things about our establishment before you all wander off and begin your exploration of the grounds. I know you're keen to begin, so I'll try to keep this short. First of all, I'd like to explain what you can do with your ticket. If you want to be closer to nature, you could visit our planting area. In that area, visitors can plant small flowers and bulbs that will grow and become part of the garden. The planting activity is completely free. However, if you have sensitive hands, you'll need to purchase garden gloves to protect your skin. Here at Pine Garden, we sell a number of wooden goods carved from trees that have been felled in our very own pine forest. If you feel like getting involved and having a go yourself, you can join one of our bush timbering lessons free of charge, where you'll be able to make your own keyring under the supervision of a skilled craftsman. The most popular attraction in the garden is our aviary, where you can observe a whole range of bird species. Entry to this section is free, but you have to pay a small supplement in order to enter the hummingbird section. Also, the insect hut not far from it may arouse your interest. There you can find some interesting insects such as butterflies, pocket ladybugs, dragonflies, and so on. And there's no extra charge for that. Unfortunately, there are some areas that are temporarily off limits to visitors today. For example, the gift shop that closed earlier this year and won't be open for another month or so. As I mentioned before, however, you're free to visit our restaurant for food and snacks, and if you're looking to purchase a gift, why not buy that special someone a potted bush or orchid from our plant care centre? And our new treetop cafe is under construction, which will be very impressive when it's finished. In fact, the model town's already opened ahead of schedule, and it's attracting a lot of people. Now, our tourist office is normally available to provide tourists with a variety of help. However, the officer is sick at home today. Please do not let this discourage you from visiting these, as they provide quite an experience.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you'll have some time to look at questions 15 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 15 to 20.
I also would like to introduce you to our plant specialists, who are responsible for the wonderful plant displays here at Pine Garden. Mrs. Mary is one of our experts, and she is personally responsible for our beautiful display of plants that are all found growing naturally in the local area. Mr. Burson has the difficult task of growing varieties of plants that are suited to much drier and hotter climates than ours, which means we do not have to store water on site. If you visit the glasshouse, you'll be able to see many plants that he has managed to cultivate without the need for rain or irrigation. Mr. Smith is responsible for the produce that you can eat in our restaurant, which ranges from varieties that grow under the ground to those that grow on trees and bushes. Now, Mr. Nooney here is our expert on the most commonly growing plant in the world, grass. You may have noticed how beautifully green and lush our grounds are, thanks to his specialist knowledge. Mr. Scanlon ensures that our soil is full of nutrients so that the natural habitat is supported and encouraged. He does this by fertilizing the earth with a special formula of his own creation. Finally, I would like to introduce you all to Dr. Mandelson. He is the manager of our landscaping team and works closely with our other experts to ensure that everyone works together to create a landscape that is both beautiful and sustainable. Well, that just about rounds it up. Now, if anyone has any questions...
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Section 2. You will hear a radio program giving some advice about saving energy. First, you'll have some time to look at questions 11 to 16. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 16.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for tuning in to Action Radio, where we discuss current affairs and global issues. My name is Jill, and today I'll be discussing the very relevant issue of the importance of saving water and how you can do this at home. The most common type of wasted energy in the domestic environment is heat. However, since the walls of my home are very well insulated, I am lucky to have no issue with this. I've discovered, however, that I waste a lot of water as a result of my lifestyle. I've researched ways to minimize my water usage online and have been pleasantly surprised to find that there are specialists in the area who can make some changes to my home immediately. The only downside is that the works are quite expensive and there are no means of getting financial assistance. Now, if any of you listeners are interested in reducing your energy usage, here are a couple of easy and positive changes you can make immediately. A lot of the magazines will recommend that you change your bulbs for those with energy-saving capabilities. However, I have found that these make little difference to your electricity bills, and they also severely reduce the light levels in your home. Instead, simply switch off all plug sockets and appliances to make an immediate saving on your electricity consumption. If this doesn't make enough of a saving for you, you could later try turning down the thermostat as well. Despite the discount that my energy provider gave me for prompt payment, my monthly bills were very expensive for the amount of energy that I was using, so I decided to change providers. Not only did I make a huge monthly saving, but the company also offered me other perks. I am now able to pay my monthly bills online, for example, which I am thrilled about because it means that I no longer have to drive to the bank. Once I have been a customer with them for a year, they will also offer a deduction for all of the energy-saving appliances I use. Now, many of you will have an electricity meter at home, so I'm sure you'll all understand the issues associated with them. They occupy a lot of space in your home and can be unsightly if you're unable to tuck them away in a cupboard. Mine is quite large as it measures both my gas and electricity, but I was luckily able to hide it in the coat cupboard where I can keep it hidden but also access it easily. Having said that, whenever I have to take a meter reading, I have to use a torch because the screen is too dark to read the numbers correctly. I have recently had an extension built on my house to make room for a new bathroom complete with a low-energy boiler so I can take long showers guilt-free. The walls are nice and thick and well insulated, but unfortunately the window is a little drafty, so I'm going to have to invest in upgrading it. Speaking of renewable energy, I initially considered installing solar panels on the roof instead of using a low-energy boiler, which was the less expensive option. In the end, I decided that the panels would look too ugly on my house, despite that they were technically easy to operate.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 17 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 17 to 20.
Now, if you're a fan of taking long showers like I am, then switching from baths to showers will not help to reduce your water usage. Instead, here are some small but effective changes you can make. When making a cup of tea, for example, measure out the amount of water that you need before boiling it. And when brushing your teeth, use a cup of water instead of a running tap. I tried filling up my washing machine before switching it on, but I found that the clothes were not thoroughly cleaned, so I would not recommend this. If your tap drips when it is turned off, then you should call a plumber to fix it, as this can result in a lot of water being wasted. Before finishing today's show, I'd like to address two questions that we often get asked by listeners. We had some great feedback about our answer to last week's question on how to calculate the price involved in powering domestic appliances, so let's see how we do this week. One of our most commonly asked questions this week was which device is the lowest energy option for watching films. The simplest answer is that the smaller the screen, the lower the energy used. One of our listeners wrote in with a question that made me chuckle, and the answer is yes, solar panels only work when the sun is out. Now, on a more serious note, a number of you wanted to know what the most efficient temperature is to set the thermostat to. The answer is that the closer you set it to room temperature, the lower the energy used. Before I say goodbye until next week, I'll leave you with one last tip. Turn off the lights when you leave the room.
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Section 2. You will hear a tour guide giving a talk about a relaxation centre. First, you'll have some time to look at questions 11 to 14. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 14.
Hello everyone, my name is Sally. Welcome to our globally renowned spa and relaxation centre here at Island View Estates. Before you all wander off and begin exploring the facilities, I'd like to go over a few things. Now, this year is a very special milestone for our beloved centre, as it is our 25th anniversary. I understand that this means you have all paid an increased price for your tickets, but I can promise that all of the events we have scheduled for your enjoyment will make the costs well worth it. I know that all of you have travelled a long distance to make it here to the centre of the New Forest, but it is thanks to its remoteness that our centre is such a beautiful place to relax. I'm sure you are all keen to find out what activities we have arranged for you, so I will give you a quick overview. Tomorrow we have arranged for you all to participate in a yoga session for the duration of the morning, followed by a day of relaxation at the pool, where we have ample sun umbrellas to protect you from the sun. On Wednesday, we have organized a sightseeing hike through the forest, where you will be able to test your navigation skills and witness the wild ponies in their natural habitat. It's forecast to be sunny that day, but I recommend that you all bring rainproof clothes just in case. On your last day, we have a special surprise, a pony trek along the beach. We ask that you all wear full-length trousers and that all women have their hair tied up in a ponytail. Helmets are provided at the centre for those who would like to wear one. There are a couple of beautiful attractions here at the centre that you must all be sure to visit before you leave. The Rose Garden, located just at the corner of the property, is home to many indigenous species and is beautifully serene and peaceful, the perfect place to collect your thoughts or read a book. Our sunset boat ride has been the favourite attraction for many of our visitors. Simply hop aboard and relax whilst we sail you out into the open sea to witness one of the most beautiful spectacles that nature has to offer. Last, but certainly not least, is the freshwater pond, which serves as a watering hole of sorts. Some of you may even be lucky enough to spot our resident kingfishers, who are members of a very rare and endangered species. Once you have all unpacked and settled into your rooms, we will be taking you out to the neighbouring island for a bonfire and barbecue dinner. The island is very small, and the bicycle trails make it very easy to explore all of its beautiful corners. As the island is entirely separate from the mainland, it has never been inhabited by wildlife, so you can all roam freely and safely. We have some bonding exercises for you all to take part in around the bonfire, where you can potentially make new friends and discover a lot about yourself.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you'll have some time to look at questions 15 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 15 to 20.
Now, let me tell you a little bit about the facilities that the resort has to offer. For those of you keen on indulging in a little bit of retail therapy, just wander along to our tourist centre, where we have a wide selection of presents on sale at reasonable prices. If you are feeling more drawn to the natural surroundings and scenery, I recommend that you take a trek up the mountain, where you can enjoy the panoramic outlook from the peak. For a bit of cultural indulgence, why not pay a visit to our small on-site theatre, where you can enjoy watching a range of movies and check out some works by our resident street artists. Just a 10-minute walk down the road is the local art museum, where you can roam around the sculpture courtyard or admire the many artworks on display. Here at the resort, we are incredibly lucky to be located right next to a nature reserve, where many species of endangered wildlife live in the pond. Just on the bank is a small hut where visitors can observe the fish and birds in their natural habitat. Now, if any of you are interested in history, you have the very interesting opportunity to visit the ancient building at the south side of the grounds. The building is now a museum. However, it originally served as a jail for those charged with crimes of treason against the royal family. Well, that just about rounds it up. Now, if anyone has any questions?
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers.